the personal computer. For too long we've stood in the dark, but no longer. A light is now shining, a beacon of hope for all. Join us. We are here to bring you on a PC gaming adventure like no other you've ever had before. Welcome to the Quick Save Club podcast.
Let me read through this again real quick, just so I don't stumble over my words. Sorry. Okay. Welcome to the Quick Save Club podcast. What is the Quick Save Club? The Quick Save Club is a PC-focused spin-off of the Cartridge Club, where every month we choose a retro, classic, or indie PC game to play. During the month, we discuss our experiences as we play the PC game of the month with our Quick Save Club community on Discord and the forums located at www.cartridgeclub.org. At the end of the month, we pick a member or two in the community to record a podcast with to talk about the game sometimes. In the coming month, we will be playing Minecraft, 7th Guest, Age of Empires, Any Old PC Simulator in December, and Thief. And at the end of this episode, we'll be announcing the game of the month for February 2020. If any of this sounds like fun to you, hit us up on Twitter or Discord and join in.
Just a reminder to check out the Cartridge Club game of the month for September is StarCraft.
Is that Nano Stray 2? CC
Portable is doing Nano Stray 2.
Yeah, and RF Gen is doing Saints Row, the first one?
Saints Row 3.
3. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
So I just want to mention Nano Stray is not something that you do to spray or neuter your pet. It is a shoot 'em up game on the DS. So check that out. And StarCraft, I will be guesting on that episode of the Cartridge Club in September. So I'll be showing off the Quick Save Club knowledge and wealth, because that is a PC game and they're stepping on our toes a little bit, but I'll be representing us over there.
There you go. Representing. Yeah. Awesome.
What did we play this month?
Oh, yeah. We didn't even introduce ourselves. I'm Ryan. I'm here with Kevin and Josh, and we are your hosts. We don't have a guest. We are guestless this month, unfortunately. And a word of warning, we do jump around a lot. There we go. There, we introduce each other. We played Commander Keen. I think 4 or 5 episodes. How many episodes of Commander Keen are there? There's about 5 episodes, basically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
There's a bunch. So there was the original trilogy, and that's what we played. The first 3 games.
And then 4 and 5 had a new engine, and that one kind of finished it off, kind of, in a way. So we tried to. We might have jumped around episodes and stuff, but we tried to play Commander Keen. This is a platformer, and I think this is the first platformer we have covered on our podcast.
It is. Yep.
It's not a bad one to cover. Although I do feel like it's kind of one of those games that you had to look at the time it was released in order to appreciate some stuff to it. But we will get into that. So yeah. How about you guys? Have you had any experience playing this game before now?
Well, I have. I just want to mention too that the trilogy is called Commander Keen in Invasion of the Vorticons.
Oh yeah.
So that's the original trilogy. So there's 3 parts to it: Marooned on Mars, The Earth Explodes, and Keen Must Die. And those 3 are the trilogy. The first game was a shareware game, and then the other 2 were the other 2 episodes you had to buy. I played a bunch of Commander Keen back in the day. I could not tell you which game I played. The whole thing is just a complete mess. Because I probably played them all out of order. It's whatever I could get for free. Back in the day, I was a kid. I didn't have money to spend on video games. So I do remember playing the first episode 1 for sure. I'm pretty sure I had the shareware version that was floating around. And then I must have played that over and over again. The other 2 episodes I did not recall playing at all until I started to hit some points in it. Like, for instance, in episode 3, the school house, that little schoolhouse with the alien has like some writing there and all that. I remembered that, and I remembered the final, the ending of the game, the final end screen as well. So I must have played it at some point, but I just don't recall it much. I do recall playing like some Commander Keen where like he had Pong on his watch.
Yep, that's 4 and 5.
That's 4 and 5. Okay, so I must have had those and played those more because I recall that better.
I think 4 was released as shareware as well. I think episode
so
1 was shareware and episode 4 was shareware.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Because those are the 2 I remember playing the most as a kid as well. Because of course back then those were free, and shareware was awesome back then because you didn't just get a level for a demo. You got an entire episode, and so another reason why being a PC gamer back then was so underrated because you got whole episodes, and then you could buy the rest.
Yeah,
but those are the 2 I remember too. Yeah, so
and I remember that blew my mind too. Like that Pong was in, like it was a game within a game.
Yeah,
this was 1992 or something like that. Like it was something that was like once took an entire machine to play was now within this game on this kid's watch.
You got an extra, and you can play it on the main menu.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just boot it up just to play that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was pretty cool.
This is definitely the first time I played this. I didn't own any old PCs or anything, so it's a fresh experience for me, 100%. So
okay. And Ryan, you are a huge fan of this series, so you must have played this back and forth all the way through.
And again, more recently, I've played all the episodes back when I was younger. Like I said, I started with the shareware episodes. That's where episode 1 and episode 4. 4, of course, is probably my favorite because just the graphics were a lot better. And I remember the struggle was real because as I was playing through at least 4 again, and I don't know if we're going to be talking about 4 and 5 that much, but it's one of those things where each new level, like, it slowly came back to me as I was playing it. Like, at first, it's like everything's, and the same thing with episode 1. Like, everything's just kind of a blur at first, but then you just get these aha things, and you remember little secret areas like, oh, there's an invisible wall here, or this or that. And it's kind of fun just kind of remembering that and just going back, because if you haven't played it for a while, like, and that's the thing about Commander Keen, there's a lot of secrets, there's a lot of hidden stuff, and some of it's kind of not fair because some of the hidden stuff you actually need, and if you don't know what you're doing, it kind of is frustrating at times. But yeah, so 2 and 3, a little less, but still enjoyable. But 1 and 4 are the ones that I remember playing the most younger, and I kind of like I said, it was kind of, in my opinion, I know other people could argue that there are other games that could take its place, but I kind of feel like Commander Keen was kind of not, you can't compare it to Mario, but kind of the PC gamers version of a Mario mascot at that time back in the day, in my opinion. So,
yeah, I would agree with that. Before the first-person shooters really took over, Commander Keen was the guy.
Which, it's nice to say first-person shooter because Commander Keen actually has linkage to.
Oh yeah.
But we will get to that in fun facts. You already have that written down.
I got that all in there.
You got it all in there. So yeah, but very, very fun. So
okay, so how about let's just do a little intro here for Commander Keen. Commander Keen in Invasion of the Vorticons, which is a really difficult title. Like you got the in there twice. Commander Keen in Invasion of the Vorticons. You definitely need that semicolon in between the ins. You gotta do that little pause. Commander Keen in Invasion. Or if you try to say it fast, yeah. Okay, so it's this collection is considered the first game in the series, released on December 14th, 1990 for MS-DOS. It is divided into 3 episodes: Marooned on Mars, The Earth Explodes, and Keen Must Die. And the game was published through a shareware model, whereby Marooned on Mars was first released for free, and the other 2 episodes were available for purchase. It was developed by a team calling themselves Ideas from the Deep, or sometimes IFD Software. And they were all dudes that just worked at id Software. It consisted of programmers John Carmack, John Romero, Tom Hall, Adrian Carmack, and Jay Wilbur, and was published by Apogee Software. Or is it Apogee or Apogee or?
I heard it say Apogee. I used to call it Apogee.
Apogee?
When I heard the actual developers in a video say Apogee, then I'm like, oh, okay. I've been saying it wrong. So.
Oh my god, I said something right. I can't believe that.
Yeah, you said it right. Yeah, I used to say it the wrong way, but like I said, I think there was some when they did the Apogee throwback pack. There was like a trailer, and they actually said the name Apogee. Right. So I think, but then again, who knows?
I got that collection, by the way.
Me too. I can't find it anywhere anymore.
Yeah, I don't think they offer it. They offer it piecemeal, but there are some games that are no longer available. If you bought it, you can still download it, but yeah. I think some licensing ran out on it. Yeah. Anyways, just to wrap up, the game, like the rest of the series, is a side-scrolling platform video game. All right, fun facts. Young Josh, give us our first fun fact.
Young Josh. Okay, Commander Keen started life as id's pitch to Nintendo to port Super Mario Bros. 3 to MS-DOS. Nintendo wasn't interested, so id kept this game engine while creating their own content.
Yeah. I really hope that Commander Keen's jumping wasn't in their demo of Super Mario Bros. 3, because that's probably why Nintendo rejected it then. I hope they tweaked it.
Yeah. There was a few games that did come over to MS-DOS from, like, there was a version of Castlevania, I believe, and definitely Mega Man. There was a few Mega Man games.
Yeah.
So it was something that was happening at the time.
Another fun fact about that, those 2 games, I think, were actually played, if you guys ever watch Awesome Games Done Quick or Summer Games Done Quick, they actually do a late night crap games speed runs, and those 2, the DOS versions of Castlevania and the DOS version of Mega Man, were 2 of those games they sped run. Really? I think recently at the Summer Games Done Quick. And the Castlevania one is rough, yes. I think the Mega Man one might have been done at the last Awesome Games Done Quick they do in January, but that's there are actually people who have sped run those games. I don't know, but those do exist.
All right, next fun fact. John Romero claims Wolfenstein protagonist B.J. Blazkowicz, Billy, who is the protagonist of Commander Keen, and Doom Guy are all part of the same lineage. The Wolfenstein hero is Commander Keen's grandfather, while Keen is Doom Guy's dad.
Huh. Tying it all together.
Yeah. Who knew? All right, and Ryan, give us our final fun fact.
Adrian Carmack apparently just tested working on the Commander Keen series. He even placed 4 hanged Commander Keens in the 2nd secret level of Doom 2, Hell on Earth. Good Lord, that's just brutal. Hanging a child in hell.
Well, he might have been an adult by then.
It might also be why it took him so long to actually, come up with a new one, which I think the new one looks like an atrocity and is a mobile game, but we're not going to talk about that. But for the longest time, people wanted a modern version, but it just never happened till recently. But,
there was after the original series ran its course on the PC, there was a Game Boy or Game Boy Color game. I think it was a Game Boy Color game.
I think so, yeah.
That came out to bad reviews and that, and they pretty much, everyone thought that this series was done and over with. But yeah, they are bringing it back now on the mobile.
There is a huge mod community, though. There is a lot of fan-made extra episodes of Commander Keen. And I forgot about this. I mentioned it the other night, but I did find a few months ago there is a multiplayer deathmatch version of Commander Keen where there's 2 Commander Keens, or I don't know if you can have more than that, and you just jump around a level and try to shoot each other. So that mod is out there. I found it at one point. I need to find it again, and I'll probably try retweeting it this month. alongside it so people can find it. But I just want to mention there is a multiplayer version of this, although it's not like you think where you play co-op. It's just you fight each other. But it does exist.
So there is a community out there that's still putting out content for this series. That's pretty cool.
It seems to be a trend with id Software games, even though this wasn't technically, but it's made by the id people like Wolfenstein, Commander Keen, Doom. Just all their communities are still making levels, making new content. It's just sort of one of those things that anytime one of those creators made something, that always seems to have a strong community behind it.
Well, it doesn't hurt too that id puts their stuff out there. Like they put the material, the source material out there, so people can go in and tinker, which is nice.
Yeah.
All right, let's focus though. Let's try to focus. Let's try not to jump around too much and focus on these 3 episodes. And let's just get into Marooned on Mars. So Marooned on Mars is the first episode where 8-year-old boy genius Billy Blaze builds a spaceship and puts on his older brother's football helmet to become Commander Keen. One night while his parents are out of the house, he flies to Mars to explore. But while away from the ship, the Vorticons steal 4 vital components and hide them in Martian cities. Keen journeys through Martian cities and outposts to find components, despite the efforts of the Martians and robots to stop him. After securing the final component, after securing the final component,
read your own writing.
This is all copied off of Google.
Yes.
I don't write Wikipedia. This is Wikipedia.
Wiki.
Yeah. After securing the final component, which is guarded by a Vorticon, Keen returns to Earth, discovering a Vorticon mothership in orbit, and beats his parents home, who discovers that he now has a pet Yorp.
Which are those cute little one-eyed green aliens.
Here's a bit of trivia for you. Let's see if Ryan knows this. What is the name of Billy Blaze's pet Yorp?
Oh, that I don't know. I just thought it was always just a Yorp.
In one of the episodes, he has a dog dish out for it, and its name is right on the dog dish.
I don't know.
Try to pick a very common name for a dog.
Spot.
You got it. That's it.
There we go. Okay. I've never paid attention to that. But yeah, Spot.
He has the one eye, so it kind of makes sense.
And I put you on the spot for that question. There you go.
Which I thought was great as a kid when I played this, because I'm just like, who wouldn't want to have like a little alien pet? If you're gonna be a genius and fly to Mars, you gotta bring yourself home a pet. You're a kid. Kids do that all the time. They bring home stray animals. Why not bring home a disease-infested alien from another planet? Who knows?
Scientist goes to the Galapagos Islands. He's gonna bring back something weird.
Bring back something weird. I always like that little Yorp. Yeah. He's always sort of in the background of all the little cutscenes and stuff. So,
okay, so let's get into the meat and potatoes here. What did we think of episode 1? Who are we going to start with? Let's go, Josh. Come on, I'm dying to hear what you have to say. I know that you hate these games, so let's go.
At first, I thought I was gonna just like shit all over. I'm not lying. I thought I was gonna shit all over this game at first. It's been kind of like a stressful time for me lately, just outside of video games and stuff. So I was just like, it's one of those games where you have to learn the like different like platforming. It's very, very floaty. The pogo stick it's very tricky to get used to at first, which is one of the primary mechanics. But after dying and messing up multiple times, I ended up beating the episode. The first episode's like probably 45 minutes if you go straight through it, maybe an hour, something like that.
I think about, because there's hidden levels and stuff. So
I guess I'm not very good at these games because I think it took me about 2 hours.
I think it was like maybe a little over an hour, but I did get through it. And I mean, once I got the rhythm of it and I kind of understood like how the floaty, my main issue was I couldn't find a controller that worked for me properly, and then I had to rebind my controller. So I was complaining while I was trying to use a little nubby thumbstick on this little 8-bit DOE controller I had.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, okay. So, and then I switched it to, I actually rebound my DOS box, because this game just runs on DOS box, of course. So I rebounded to the D-pad, and then I had no issues going going forward with it. And I come to the terms with the physics. At first, I was just complaining like, "Oh, this sucks. This is terrible," because I kept messing up. But I actually started to enjoy it, and it's not perfect by any means, and it definitely, if you have to get that mindset of like, "Oh, I'm playing an older game that's from an older system with the technical restrictions that they had back in the day." So getting my head around that and then learning the mechanics, I ended up enjoying my time with it. It wasn't the best platformer I ever played, but I still had fun with it. So
Yeah, I'm fully agree with you, man. I what I remembered is loving it when I was a kid. Like I just thought this was the great. Going back to play it now, I really liked it, and I'm glad you came to like you were able to calm down, like get over your
I think I
frustration.
was just getting a little just a
Yeah.
little
Well,
heated too quickly. That's all it was.
I kind of it to me it feels a little bit like Castlevania. If you're coming from a Mario game or a Mega Man game and you're going to play Castlevania, a lot of people will start playing and say, well, this character is really stiff. He doesn't move fast. He can only whip what's in front of him. And the thing is that you can't move around like Mega Man in a Castlevania game, right? The game is designed for you to play like Simon Belmont in it, and the whole game is designed around the restrictions of the character, and that's how I feel Commander Keen is as well. The game you can't play like Mega Man because Commander Keen is very floaty, but the game never demands that you do the kind of platforming that you need to do in a Mega Man game. There isn't stuff that's constantly disappearing. You don't need that like precise action or precise control. It does get frustrating when you're trying to like land on something small or whatever, and Commander Keen just keeps dropping off it or whatever. But it's all about just a little bit of practice, getting a little bit of a feel for those mechanics. You're not dying in the process. It's not killing you. It's just, I got to go up, climb up again, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is that pogo stick? I mean, I actually ended up getting very good with it by the end of the 3 episodes.
I love the pogo stick. Yeah.
Yeah, but at first I felt pretty wily, because the actual jump, it's floaty, and then you kind of just sink down. The gravity's pretty good with after the floaty part of the jump, the top part, you kind of just sinks down pretty quick.
Yeah.
So with like the pogo stick, you kind of get higher up, and it just kind of felt like I couldn't quite get it under control at first, but after a little bit of practice, like we were saying, it ended up being like second nature. You just get used to it.
It's a jump you have to commit to, and what's kind of neat about it though is you realize early on, like the longer you hold the jump will be how far the jump goes. So sometimes you tap the jump to do a little hop, or you hold it longer to do a longer one or whatever. And the same. So you just gotta kind of get used to that, and you can't really adjust as easily as in other games. And I think and this is a good point. Like nowadays, so many platforming games, at least 2D ones, base their platforming mechanics off of like Mario, And so back then there was like Kevin was saying, you had like Mega Man, you had Castlevania, you had Mario Brothers. All of those had different jumping mechanics. All of those have different platforming mechanics, and that's kind of how nowadays when people think of platforming games, they think Mario, and they want all their games to feel like Mario, where you have all this control over your movement, all this control over your jumping. But that wasn't always the case, where every platformer tried to be a little more unique with how your movement is, so it kind of stood out compared to other ones. And I think that's kind of how it is. Like with Commander King, when you jump, you notice he doesn't jump immediately. You actually see him bend his knees, then he jumps. So it's not like instant, kind of thing. So you got to get used to it. But once you do, it kind of turns into second nature, I think.
Mm-hmm.
At least I feel like.
I agree. And the pogo actually remind me, let's just explain a little bit about the pogo before we get way into it, like we already did.
Yeah. You have the normal jump, and then once at the beginning of the game, you have the game just gives you a normal jump, and you can get through a couple levels just doing the normal jump. But then you come on to a temple.
I guess it's like a temple, yeah. And at the top of it is this pogo, and the pogo, it's a second button as you hit on the controller or on the keyboard if you're using the keyboard, and that stays out until you hit that button again. So you can only jump with that pogo stick. It kind of works a little bit like the Scrooge McDuck in DuckTales.
A little bit, yeah.
Just
Or
with a little less precision.
yes, like it is it leaps you, it pushes you into like Luigi, Mario 2 territory. Like
you're just
flying.
bounding, yeah.
And almost like Shovel Knight too. Shovel Knight has that mechanic too with the shovel. So
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think what's also kind of cool is it's actually once you do like not necessarily master it, but get the hang of it, it's actually pretty satisfying because it helps you traverse a lot of those areas a lot faster once you get it. Like, yeah, there are areas that you could just do the normal jump, but if you get skilled enough, you can skip a bunch of you can skip a couple platforms or get to an area a lot faster if you decide to commit to using the pogo stick instead. And so it kind of has that element of satisfaction where, yeah, you could get up there the slow way, but if you pogo, you might be able to skip all that and get there a lot faster, So I feel like there's like that element of satisfaction of mastering it or just hitting it just right and being able to land on that one little, dot that you can land on and you do it perfectly,
I do think they do a good job they have these collectibles, which are like kid trinkets. So there's like a teddy bear, like a piece of pizza, a little Pepsi. This one's actually looks like the Pepsi can in this one.
Yeah, the early 90s Pepsi can too.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
back when they could get away with that stuff.
Yeah, they changed it in all the other episodes, I think.
They're all different in all the three here. But I like how they lay these collectibles out because the teddy bear is worth the most points, and you'll see it on the top because most stages you're going to start from the bottom left, and especially in this one, you usually start to the bottom left, go more towards the top right of the screen, and you have to go through the mazes or whatever they have for you. And then you'll be jumping up, and then you'll see like these kind of spaced apart platforms, and you can see that teddy bear there with like maybe one boss or a little mob there, to get around. So you're like, okay, maybe I can try that, and if you hit that, you get those points, and then you get more points, you get more lives, which can help you down the road. And I just thought that was kind of cool how they do that. So yeah.
Okay, other than the pogo stick, Commander Keen also has a pistol, a laser pistol.
Stun gun. I always thought it was kind of like a stun laser, wasn't it? Or
I don't know. I was frying those alien scum. I was frying them up. What'd you guys think of the pistol? You only had a limited amount of ammo that you could collect. You could find pieces, but I was hitting that space bar a lot, which gives you the status screen to let you know how many shots you have.
Yeah, that was odd. For some reason, I didn't remember that because when I first started playing it again, I forgot that you didn't get your status underneath or above. Yeah. You had to bring it up.
There's no HUD in the game.
Yeah, there's no HUD
like
until
how many
later
lives
levels.
You have or anything.
Until later games. Yeah, so that was... For some reason, I forgot completely about that. And at first, it messed me up because I'm like, is my game broken? Is it not emulating properly? And then I looked up screenshots and I'm like, yeah, okay. I just remembered it differently for some reason. For some reason in my head, I'm just like, there should be a hub here, but there wasn't.
So what'd you guys think of the gun?
I actually... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that it was interesting, the mechanic where you have to hit two buttons to fire it. At least that's a little weird. But
it is because there's like a bazillion buttons on the keyboard. They couldn't assign that to another.
Even on the keyboard, it's like that, right? Like you'd have to hit
you got to hit Alt and Control.
But to be fair, since this did have the ability to use joystick or controller, back then, most controllers only had two buttons on it. Even... believe it or not, I used to get a lot of PC game controllers back then. And for some odd reason, for the life of me, even though other ones, there were a lot of controllers that only gave you two buttons. I don't know why. It was for a PC game. You think they would be the first ones to invent, 4, 5, 6 button controllers, but there were a ton of controllers that were just two button. And I think the most popular controller at that time was just a 2-button controller. So maybe they were accommodating for if you did want to use a controller and you didn't have that third button. That's a theory. That makes all sense. Just a theory.
Yeah, I don't know. On my Commodore 64, my joystick only had one button, and I had to use the space bar a lot for alternate fire. I even had, in Ghostbusters, I had to press B for bait to bait the Marshmallow Man. So let me tell you, when you're a kid and the Marshmallow Man pops up, and you're like, where's the B?
You learned
You
your
don't know how to
keyboard
type
layout quite well during
Yeah.
that time. That's
Well,
for
you don't know
sure.
how to type yet. You know, when you're a kid.
Oh
and
yeah.
shaking around because you don't want the Marshmallow Man to take out a section of the city.
Yeah.
I liked the gun. You can only shoot it in one direction, like kind of like Mega Man, and yeah, you had to press the two buttons. But what I liked about it is that you only had the limited number of shots. That you can't collect more and stockpile them up a little bit, but that definitely played into you just couldn't start like shooting at everything willy-nilly, right? You had to plan your shots, right? So if there was an enemy down low, you had to make sure that you had a nice clear shot. There wasn't anything in your way because you don't want to waste any ammo. So
And there were certain enemies that wouldn't actually kill you when they ran into them. They were just there to bump you. You know,
Yeah.
like the little green-eyed guys and the little tiny annoying robot that would run back and forth.
Yes,
I hated those
they were
annoying
fast. Yeah.
little robots. And that was actually a thing. But with mine, I found myself actually hoarding my shots. Like I wouldn't use them because I was like, because I didn't have that HUD there, I would honestly forget about it because I didn't have that constant reminder. This is how many shots you have.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of me constantly hitting the space bar to bring up the HUD, I would just forget and be like, I could just jump over this guy. Unless if I had like, one of the werewolves. I call them werewolves because they look like werewolves. Or the two-eye. Well, yeah, they're the werewolf looking aliens for some reason, who also for some reason was the last boss, and it was kind of weird.
It's not that you think that they're it's how you're saying it. It's werewolves.
Werewolves.
You're saying werewolves.
Werewolves, same thing.
I didn't even notice it.
Every time, Kevin, you always. I'm gonna find a word that he screws up every podcast.
That will not be hard.
Trust me. Up. Oh my god.
Werewolves. Okay.
Were dogs. Were puppies.
Teen Wolf. I remember that movie.
Wolf.
With Michael J. Fox. All right.
Michael J. Fox hated doing that movie. I heard. I don't know why.
Okay.
But
anyways, yes.
So I ended up, because I didn't have that HUD there, like I would either forget about it or be paranoid I wouldn't have enough shots. So I ended up like hoarding all the shots. So when I did need them, I had them. It's just because I didn't have that constant reminder of how many I had, and I wasn't, I didn't like constantly having to bring up the HUD. I ended up hoarding it. So I didn't actually use it that much until I really, really had to. In the later episodes where you needed to use it a lot more because you had more enemies. And there were a couple enemies that I wasn't even sure I could kill because I couldn't remember because you'd have to use multiple shots sometimes.
Yeah, some of them took a few shots.
Yeah. And so after like 3 shots, it'd be like, maybe I can't kill them. Maybe I need to jump over them or something like that. So I kind of hoarded them. I didn't use them that much, but when I did use it, it was kind of fun seeing them and they're a little dazed, confused, like you just got shot kind of thing. But yeah.
I liked too how like when the shot would hit something, there would be that little written zap, almost like the old Batman cartoon. It would just say zap on there. Thought that was a nice little touch. What do you guys think of the graphics overall? I thought it was. I thought they were cool. I liked them. I thought they looked nice. I thought Commander Keen looked nice. I thought all the sprites looked nice. Some of the backgrounds were a little. I mean, it's the early '90s. Even the NES games, some of them are not the greatest. But sprite-wise, I thought all the sprites looked fantastic.
Yeah, they have a very specific charm to them. It's an endearing game just aesthetically, I think. Like I said, I like the little items, and of course the Pepsi. We already said that, and then the little mobs are kind of like they almost feel like Saturday cartoon feel to me, like in sprite form. Kind of just cute and fun, and not too scary or anything. Just kind of quirky. So,
yeah, and the animations were really nice too. Like I said, like the background design wasn't all that great then, but there were just these little flourishes. Like I said, like. When you hit the jump button, he like bends down. He bends at his knees to jump. He has all these little touches. These small little touches of animation, and besides a few creatures, like it, a lot of the creatures they looked alien and made sense, except for the space dogs. And I'm gonna call them space dogs.
Now.
Yeah, space dogs now.
Space wolves.
Somebody look up the actual name of that thing.
It's the Vorticons, right?
Where's
Yeah,
are they the Vorticons?
Yeah,
they're the Vorticon. I could never remember which one of those. They're all Vorticons, I guess. But anyway, so it kind of they were all cute, all charming, and like you said, a very Saturday morning cartoon feel to it. Like when you shot the aliens, you didn't look like you killed them; you just looked like you dazed them. And I think in some later games they do come out of the daze and like some of the creatures. So
Right.
So it very much was trying to be family friendly. So it's a very enjoying aesthetic.
So the graphics did age well, but I got to say the audio not so much. Especially,
I was curious about that.
Yeah, especially from what I remembered. Now, you got to keep one thing in mind that this game was designed to be played through a PC speaker, not really designed for stereo. So that's part of the issue because a lot of the sound effects sound really tinny. But there were some decisions made. And this is just, I guess you can chalk this up to early game design. Like every time Commander Keen drops down, there's a sound effect, and it's not a good sound effect. And there's lots of, like, every time he takes a step, there's a noise, and it just, that part I feel hasn't aged as well as the graphics for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's why I wish they would go back and do kind of a re-up, not like an HD, but a re-release of it and give it some the sound effects from like episode 4 or 5 thrown in there or something.
Sure,
those were a lot better. Plus, there's very little music. I don't think there's any music in this besides the music you hear when you die, pretty much, and then when you start a level.
The opening title, I don't think there is any music at all.
Yeah, so and I have to agree. It is. I got used to it, but if you've never played it before, it's kind of jarring because you're like, "What is this trash coming out of my speakers? Why does it sound like someone drowned my speakers underwater?"
It sounds crunchy. That's what I would describe it as. Yeah.
After a while, you don't even notice it.
I agree. But by episode 3, it was kind of like it. I don't know. I guess it kind of got normal for me. It kind of got normalized. But those first 2 episodes, it was a little jarring.
Yeah. So kind of a bummer.
Okay.
But maybe a re-release someday will fix that.
Maybe. So this first episode was the shareware version. When you finished this, do you think you would have spent some money on episode 2 and 3? Let's say today, like as kids, like we didn't have any money, so we couldn't do it. But let's just say you played this. would you buy episode 2 and 3, or would you be like, you know what, I think I'm good?
My kid self, yeah.
Yeah.
However, that being said, I think I probably would have been a little disappointed with the next 2 episodes afterwards. But I think this is the strongest of the 3 episodes.
Okay.
But as a kid, if I didn't have any knowledge of the other 2 episodes, I'd probably, if I would have just been Richie Rich, and there's a reference for you, and would have just been able to just be like, okay, I'm just gonna get my credit card and call and sit, and I probably would have bought it, Credit
card. What about you, Josh? You think you would have bought episode 2 after playing 1?
I'm just trying to think. Like, if I was a kid, maybe, but I mean, now I'd be like, I'll just go play something else, probably, honestly. But if I was a kid, I mean, if all I had, when I was little, I probably only had like Mario and a couple other games. I'd probably be like, want more of this. And when you're a kid, you sit down and you play a game over and over anyway, even if it's not the best game ever or anything. But I mean, this game, it probably would have been a classic to me, now if I played it as a kid, I think, because even like some of those crappy Super Nintendo games and NES games, I mean, not, just like licensed ones that were kind of like, I've had a couple of those when I was a kid, and I have nostalgia for them. Like, oh, that was a good game, right? So I don't know.
Well,
probably.
You said you were frustrated with this initially, and you were saying there were other outside sources to that. But is there any particular level you found yourself most frustrated with? Because it is one of those ones where if you die, you have to start the whole level over, and items, everything. You have to start it all over. So
it was the ice one that kept tripping me off.
Yeah,
The first ice
that
one.
is what game doesn't have an annoying
yeah,
type?
yeah.
I died on that one 3 times.
Yeah.
So like every time I played, get
3
to that
times.
stage.
Oh, you got lucky then. Good lord.
Yeah, and I game overed on it.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so I would get I got frustrated because I'm like I feel like I was getting close to like maybe not the end, but I was making progress and then had to start all over. But that's classic game design. So
yeah.
I gotta say I found it surprising too that there were areas that you could just skip. You didn't really need to play every area. You can just go right to the end. Not as bad as episode 2, which we'll get into in a minute, but there was a couple of areas where you had to play through. But for the most part, you can just kind of play whatever levels you really wanted to.
Yeah, I didn't end up playing all the stages though, personally. So
did you find the secret level?
I did not. I didn't even know there was a secret level until I finished the game.
There is a secret level.
I told you that on the splash screen at the end of the game.
It's not worth playing. It is just a giant maze full of those two-eyed creatures, Yorks, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool, I guess, but I ended up having to cheat in order to beat it because it was just a giant maze, every key card that you could collect in order to get to the end, and it's one of those. So not worth it. So good thing you didn't find the secret level because it is horrific. It's just a giant red maze full of creatures you basically have to kill in order to move on. So you're wasting a ton of ammo. It's like no.
I didn't cheat in this game, but I did look up a video because I was kind of curious, like how to enter the codes. There's a God mode in this game, right?
Yeah.
Yes, there's a God mode. There's an infinite. There's like a super pogo stick mode, which is hilarious and fun to use.
Yeah, you can just fly, right?
Yep, you literally just fly around on your pogo stick. But that's what I love about those old games is trying out all the cheat codes because those make it fun as well. Because like I said,
cheat codes on old PC games are just so easy. Like God mode is just you press GOD all at the same time.
That's
it.
That's it. And you're in God mode. There's no like crazy screen you have to go through or anything like that. Just boom.
Imagine if you were a kid and you just did that by accident and then you found it out and you're like, oh my God. And
let me tell you,
a little bit. Yeah.
After you learn that as a kid, you try it on every game you could possibly try, see if it's going to work.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how there's the Konami code for console gamers. Like for PC gamers, I think IDDQD was kind of our version of that because Doom, that was like the most common cheat for that. Like IDDQD was either God mode or all items. I can't remember, but that was sort of one of those things that once you learned it, you kind of try it on different games and see if it would actually work.
For sure. Okay, let's just move on to episode 2, just for the sake of moving on to things. So episode 2 is called "The Earth Explodes." In the second episode,
it actually does.
In the second episode, the Vorticon mothership has locked its X-14 Tantalus ray cannons on 8 of Earth's landmarks, and Keen's journeys to the ship to... That's worded weird. Anyways, Keen journeys to the ship to find and deactivate each of the cannons. Keen does so by fighting more varied enemies and hazards and a Vorticon at each cannon's control. At the end of the episode, he discovers that the Vorticons are being mind-controlled by the mysterious Grand Intellect, who is actually behind the attack on Earth. So this is a kind of neat episode where you're on the ship and you can go to all these areas and shut down all these cannons to protect all these parts of Earth, or you can just stampede right to the last level and take out the... is there an end boss, or you just go through the level? There's no boss, right? You just go through the level.
You just go through the level, you hit a switch, and the Earth explodes.
And the Earth explodes, yeah. And it just says, well, you didn't save anything. Go on to episode 3. So it's almost like Commander Keen's version of the bad ending, I guess. But if you go through and you save all the things, and you get the good ending. Saving everything.
Yeah, pretty much. I just flew through it because I was never really a huge fan of that episode for some reason. I don't know. It's just a total shift, the tonal shift of it, I suppose. So I didn't That was the one I just flew through the quickest. So
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, I actually now that I think of it, I don't think I've ever gotten the good ending on that because I was for some reason always just so impatient with this episode. I never got the good ending. I just would get to the end, I'd throw the switch, and for the longest time, I thought that was the actual ending. You blew up the Earth, and I'm just like, okay, I guess that's shocking, but it's still fun. Some, I guess, BS enemies here or there, and their placement is kind of frustrating. Especially, it was just the one that had those lasers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It just like from the first episode to the next one, I just felt like the platforming kind of, I don't know, it changed to me on this one. It just didn't feel quite as, I guess, fun to me. I don't know. It's just kind of weird to say, but it was still fun. I still enjoyed it, but like I said, I kind of flew through it faster than the first episode.
Yeah, I did the Earth blow up mission, like I did that by accident, and I was like, oh, is that the whole game? And I looked it up, and it wasn't. So I said, okay, you have to go through, and what is it? Those like generator things at the end.
Yeah.
You have to shoot the tops of them and blow them up, basically to turn the cannons off from different cities. You'll see like the Sphinx and like Statue of Liberty in there, like they're gonna blow up different cities based on the world, different stages. I could see what you're saying though, when like the platformings in this is what we were saying before, when they didn't have these pitfalls and stuff that were like, the way the platforming is kind of slow and floaty, know how it is. And then here there are like acid lakes, flames, and you'll drop down into this place with 8 dudes, like, and you can't see below and stuff like that. There are things like that can be frustrating.
A lot more chances to die. A lot bigger hike in difficulty. But to be fair, and not to be an excuse, but that was kind of how games were back then. Like the shareware version was usually a lot easier than the other episodes that you would get of most games because they wanted you to play it, they wanted you to beat it, so you would buy the rest of the episodes, that kind of stuff. And usually they ramp up the difficulty on any episodes after that. And so it makes sense in that sense, like, okay, this episode, you played the shareware, now we're going to kick your ass, So that's kind of how shareware games used to be that way. They did that with everything. But at the same time, that's probably why I didn't find it quite as enjoyable. A lot more cramped spaces as well, which doesn't give you... So
I do like those guys that walk on the wall. I don't know what the name of the mob is, but basically you can stand on them, and there's a couple of different platforming sections. Like I didn't know what to do, and then you can just stand on him, and they carry you up. That was pretty like a little neat little mechanic there.
Or even there'd be a ledge that you can't get to. It you can regular jump wouldn't do it, pogo wouldn't do it. But if you stood on if you timed it, stood on their heads, and waited till they got to the end of the platform, you'd get that right angle where you can get like to a secret area or a card or something like that. Which I just thought was a clever way to do it. Because again, like in Mario games, you jump on top of dudes to kill them, right? And in this one, it's like
unless you're playing Mario 2.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's right. You can't write about Mario 2.
But I just messed them.
That's pretty much it for episode 2. I don't think there's really too much more to say. It's just kind of like a bridge. It's a bridge episode, right? To the grand finale. I think, I
do agree with the fact that like part of the fun was finding out which enemies you could actually do that with, like ones that would just push you and not hurt you versus, well, like sometimes, it was obvious that will probably kill you, but in some cases they just push you, or they might be useful, like the ones that you could stand on. Like that was kind of a unique element that wasn't really utilized that much in gaming back then, like having enemies that could maybe actually be helpful, not just harmful to you,
I don't even know if they're really enemies. They're just kind of things that exist in the environment that are like, hey, this is my area. I'm going to push you out of the way if you're standing in the in my way kind of thing.
Exactly.
The thing about this sequel is in the first one you would usually have to get maybe 1 or 2 cards because there's like these cards that open doors. Yeah. And this one, they like tripled down on that. Yeah, it'd be like 4 or 5. 4 or 5, yeah. I thought that was pretty fun, but occasionally there would be a stage where it's just like, okay, I see that card up there. And then there was also those enemies, I guess they were like a purple or blue, but they would hit you and dizzy you. You know what I'm talking
Yes,
about?
they're
Those
very
were
annoying.
so frustrating. Yeah.
I would kill them. I didn't care. I shot them anytime.
Yeah.
Because they would also stun you, and if there was a werewolf around, the werewolf
Space dog.
would kill you, like because it would stun you for a minute. So yeah, I would take them out.
Yeah.
What about the cheap traps? What did you guys think of that? Where you don't have to maybe take a jump of faith and
Yeah,
I guess we
faith and
yeah, and then there'd be just spikes there or something there that would just instantly kill you. Like there seem to be a lot more of those in this episode as well.
I think like you were mentioning how the shareware version is easier. It kind of makes logical sense to make the second game like harder because the people who would actually shell out money for your game are going to want that little more challenge, right?
Yeah,
Like they're more invested in the game than somebody that just picked it up for free. So it kind of makes sense on that level. But yeah, there is an element of where it is a little bit unfair. But I mean, it's a PC game. You can save at the start of every level.
Oh yeah.
And you learn quickly. You know, you learn. It takes a little bit of memorization to get through them. So as long as you're careful with your saves, at the start of any level, give yourself, keep your guys or whatever. And, if you make it through a level and you only have like one guy left, well, go back and replay the level. Then make sure to get through it with all your men, now that you know what to do kind of thing, that you have a better idea. So as long as you're careful with that stuff, you're not going to be going back and replaying too much. So
you learn the stage. You do it one time, you do that leap of faith one time. Oh, you died. Okay. Then next time not to jump there.
Right.
And just do it again.
Exactly.
Yeah. Kind of thing. So it sucks on one level, but it's kind of not that.
Oh no, and that's why you just got to remind yourself after every level, just hit that save button. That's all you got to do.
Right.
And then you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry too much about lives. You just reload every time you have to.
Okay, so let's get on to the final chapter of the trilogy. This one's called Keen Must Die. In the third episode, Keen journeys to the Vorticon homeworld of Vorticon 4. Nope, Vorticon 6. That's my dyslexia happening right there. It's in Roman numerals for people listening. So Vorticon 6 to find the Grand Intellect. He travels through Vorticon cities and outposts to gain access to the Grand Intellect's lair, fighting mostly against the Vorticons themselves. Upon reaching the lair, he discovers that the Grand Intellect is actually his school rival, Mortimer McMire. I never picked up on any of this. What? The Grand Intellect is actually his school rival, Mortimer McMire, whose IQ is a single point higher than Keen's. He defeats Mortimer and his mangling machine and frees the Vorticons, the Vorticon King and the other Vorticons you haven't slaughtered. Then award him. See, you do kill him. You don't stun him.
Oh,
then
come on.
award him with a medal for saving them.
So
wow, I didn't get that. Mortimer McMire. Okay.
I think you missed it because when the boss pops up, there is text dialogue boxes. Did you read those? Because that was in there.
I don't read text. I'm playing a video game.
You probably just skip past this. So all that was in the.
You know what?
To be fair, I think I might have been pretty toasted at the time of playing this chapter. It was late at night. I had a few beers in me. I think I missed the text. That's what it is. But I love the boss robot in the end. That was quite ingenious. And Mortimer is just basically Commander Keen with like a black helmet or something. That's what's great. Yeah, I love like in video games the dark version of they're always just. They just give them darker clothes. You have Dark Link, and you have like the Shadow Marios and other stuff like that. But yes, first off, I need to say about this episode is, holy why is everything pink?
There's a lot of pink. Yeah,
there's a lot of pink. I did find myself enjoying this one more than the second one. I loved riding the little dinosaur around in the ocean. That was kind of fun. That actually kind of reminded me of like dinosaurs from Mario for some reason. I don't know why, but when you get to ride the little dinosaur halfway through it or towards the end of it there, that was kind of fun. But I don't know. This one just I don't know. It wasn't. I don't know. I feel like the most challenging episode probably was the second one, and this one kind of toned it down a little bit. It was still more challenging than episode 1, but it wasn't quite as bad as the second one, I think.
Yeah, I agree. There's really the only complaint I have with the level design is that so in the second episode it introduced, like Ryan kind of mentioned earlier, these lasers in the walls that shoot. Yeah. In
Not
this
fun.
one, there are lasers in the wall, and then there are parts where there is. Okay, so you have your gun, right? And your gun is, like a lot of times the gun, like there's an image of a gun in the thing, and you pick it up, and it gives you ammo. It's like, oh, there's guns here. I can pick up ammo. In this level, there is guns in the wall, background, in the wall, in the background. You think, oh, that's a gun. I can go pick it up, and you
it shoots
walk
you.
over to it, and it shoots you. It's like, what?
It's a trap.
I thought that was an item that I could pick up. It only happens once, because then you learn quickly. Because the ammo in this level is actually kind of like they look kind of like clips, I guess, almost for a gun. But yeah, that kind of pissed me off first time that happened.
Yeah, and I think this is the first episode that you get like a legit boss battle at the very end. Because the first one,
Mortimer's the only
pretty much the only one. Yeah, it's the only boss one. Because the first boss battle in episode 1 was literally you just dropped a wall on top of the guy, and that was it. Right. And the second one, I don't think there was a boss battle. It was just getting to the computer, and there was just a lot of big bad guys ahead of it, basically. Yeah. So I kind of appreciated that there was actually a boss battle at the end.
Did you guys know what to do right away? Like, I was like completely lost. So you get into this, like, we'll just talk about the end boss. Why not? Yeah. So you get into it. It's a big robot. He's got like all these moving platforms. Like his arms are a moving platform. His feet are a moving platform. The feet go like right up into the body. So at first I thought if I went on there, I would get squashed. So I was like running under them kind of thing. And then there's the arms that go up. I thought I couldn't touch those or whatever. And I'm shooting at it, and I'm like, I don't know what to hit. There's like these little aliens inside it. I'm trying to shoot them. Yeah. It took me a while to figure out that it's like the little glowing parts on the machine that you shoot at.
Weak points, yeah.
And I only really discovered that because there's like a weird platform at the top of the rope, like where you can go up to its head, but you don't actually land on its shoulder. You land a little bit down from there, so it kind of lines you up with those glowing things. And when I landed on there and Keen was like lined up for it, I'm like, oh, I wonder if I shoot those. And then when I shot one, it went out, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. Good.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking at it. I'm actually looking at it now. I kind of figured because they had little platforms on each side, so I figured it was one of those you had to climb up to do it.
Yeah, but when you shoot from there and you shoot the machine, like it kind of like hits one of the hands or whatever and doesn't do anything, you know. So I was
you gotta wait for the hand to move out of the way. I don't know. Yeah, it took me a little while to figure it out, but once I hit one of them, I just started trying to shoot all the moving parts until it died. It took me a couple tries. I died a lot of times because of those stupid the wall one that would shoot down, and the little creatures inside the body shooting at you would always get me. But once you figured it out and you didn't die while doing it, then
I felt like once you clear away all the little spots, the weak spots, his arms go into his body, and you can shoot his heart in the middle of his chest. And that was the one that actually tripped me up the most, is just shooting that heart. I don't know why, I just couldn't line it up. Like, it felt like I was on the platform shooting it and it wasn't working, so I had to like jump and hit it at a specific angle or something. I don't know.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know how I did it. Because I was trying, and then I think I accidentally hit the two buttons at the same time, and all of a sudden it was like went to cutscene. I'm like, oh, I guess I did it.
That is the one thing that I always had trouble with, was shooting while jumping, like trying to get a precise shot, because again, there's a lull between hitting the button to shoot and him actually shooting. Just like when jumping, you have to bend your knees. Just like with him, he has to take his gun out, then he shoots. It's not like an instant shot, so you got to get that timing down. And I always had trouble trying to line up shots while jumping, in those episodes at least. I think in like episode 4 and that you can actually shoot up, and that's cool. So that makes it a little easier. So
I was gonna say I did have some issues with some of the level design in earlier stages. One in specific is they added these walls that are one-way walls in some of the underground areas. And there was a yellow card that I had to get to go through here.
Yeah.
Did you get
it's
stuck
not
there
good to
too?
mention.
Yeah, so you go through a one-way wall, and I didn't get the yellow card, and you can't go back through the one-way wall, and there's no other ways to go. You just have to sit there and take the hit and start over, basically.
Yeah.
There was that, and then there was another part where the yellow door is right under, those platforms that you can jump up onto, but you can't jump down.
Yes.
So you had to angle your jump, and it's on a moving platform, and you had to angle it just right to land next to the door. So you do that once, and you realize I don't have the yellow card to get through the door, so you got to go up through these one-way passageway, like one-way floors, to get to the yellow card, and then you got to go all the way through the level, and then get to that door. Now you got the card, and if you miss your jump, if you don't get on that platform right, you'll actually end up on that irreversible landing.
I think I know what stage you're talking about.
Yeah, and then you got to go up and all the way around and come back down and do it again. And I did that maybe about 2 or 3 times before I finally landed on the platform with my yellow card and was able to get through the door. And that annoyed me.
There's a few stages in here that are like that, but I was gonna ask what did you guys think about the graphics? Like, it's way more updated in this, I feel like, than the other two.
Yeah, I thought the graphics were good. I like the sprites, and I thought they were a little more. I don't want to say more detailed, but they just, I don't know, they looked kind of sharper,
more filled out, maybe. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
I just thought that the levels themselves didn't look as good as episode 1. Because a lot of the backgrounds are kind of messy.
They're busy, yeah.
Yeah, busy. And I did like the waterfalls and stuff like that. That was a nice touch. Yeah. But there was no, like, as annoying as it was to have an ice level, like, there wasn't anything like that. It felt like it kind of felt a little samey.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I felt like the other 2 episodes kind of had at least an ongoing theme and a little more variety. And this one, I don't know. It like you said, it felt samey. It all felt the same. And like I said earlier, a little too much pink or purple, whatever we want to call it. I don't know.
I mean, how many times did you go through, like, there were these small areas, like they really cramped Commander Keen in these tiny areas where you'd like, I got to get into the small room and there's a bad guy in there, so I got to jump in there and kill him really quick. And I felt like I was doing that over and over.
A lot of houses, like little dwellings and stuff you'd have to go through. Those were kind of like mini mazes that could be frustrating at times too. Yeah. Because the walls kind of, you could see where you need to go, but sometimes the wall would be the same color, it wouldn't black it out. So you'd be like, okay, I can go through this wall, or can I go through this? Yeah, it was a little confusing there. I do like how they do the overworld, though. It's more, I feel like it's a little more open with the little teleporting pads. You can go to different areas of the world and try different stages.
I did, like, start one stage. I'm like, I don't feel like doing this one. I'm going to go to see what else there is to do. And so you can do them at your leisure, whatever order you wish to do. So it's pretty cool. And I did like, there was like that school room, which I thought was pretty cool. Like, even if you pogoed up to the top of it, there was like even a school bell on the top, and the teacher was in there. You could stun or kill. I say slaughter because it says slaughter on Wikipedia, the teacher. So that's pretty cool. There was some cool things in it, but I think overall, I just like I think the sprites look better in this one, but the actual level design, I think, was still best in the first.
I think they focused more on their sprite work, and I think the second one probably had the most design level wise. I feel like the sprite work was the most focused on the background, and the platforms and stuff were probably, that one I don't think was worked on as much as the rest, the actual sprite work of it. So I never really thought the backgrounds really looked great on any of them. I felt like they looked the worst in episode 3 versus the other episodes, but again, that's because of the gaudy colors and the paint and stuff.
And they're trying to do like the rock texture, so you'll have like a red rock texture, and then another red rock texture that's just a little different for the background, and it's kind of like, yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that. I think it has a lot. I think it might have the most character when it comes to like the boss battle in the overworld, though, for sure. Yeah, like that's just a silly thing that you would see, like I said, like a Saturday morning cartoon, like giant robot kid controlling it, dark version. Yeah, it's fun
for sure.
Ride a dinosaur to get there, that kind of stuff. At least I think that was a dinosaur. Did they call it a dinosaur? Was there something like that?
I'm not sure.
Think so. I just thought I was thinking Nessie when I was riding it.
Nessie,
so.
Yeah.
There is apparently an island that you can go to with that on this level too. I didn't check it out. Again, it was on that splash screen at the end that said, "Did you find the secret island?" So I imagine you ride that dinosaur or whatever that's swimming into the island. Okay, nobody knows. All right, I'm not sure. Okay. I think that's it. That's all we have to say about Commander Keen, other than would you recommend, after you've played it now?
Did any of you try episode 4 or any of those? Because I played through 4.
You did, okay.
Yes, I did. Did any of you try it or no?
I tried. I played the first 3 or 4 stages of 4 and the first 2 stages of 5 just to see them, and it is a big difference. They were like you said, it's a new engine, right?
So, yes, new engine.
Yeah, they look closer to like what you would imagine, like almost to like a 16-bit style, almost. But yeah.
Yeah,
music, the sound's better, the graphics are better.
It's like a theme song.
It's a sequel. Like, even though they're called episode 4 and 5, it's a sequel. Like, it's the next game. I think they labeled them episodes, I think, just for marketing, so they can piece them out, kind of thing. Yeah. They were also like these were coming out while they were making them. So they would have episode 2 out, but they wouldn't be finished episode 3 yet, or even started episode 3 by the time they put out episode 2. So that was part of it as well.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
They were trying to make money to fund, the next episode.
See, if I had to say, like, recommend a Keen
game. So we're going to the recommend part now.
Well, here we go. This is why I mentioned episode 4. Like, if someone nowadays, like Josh, if he never played Commander Keen, if he said, "Hey, I heard about that Commander Keen series, never played it. What one should I start with?" I would probably direct him to 4 first, because that's slightly, that has the graphics, doesn't have the PC speaker sounds. The controls are a little more acceptable, and versus that, because while I love Commander Keen, I absolutely do. I can see how it'd be a lot harder to swallow for modern platforming gamers, and like Josh said, he had a hard time initially. He got into it though, which I'm proud he stayed with it and he got into it. But there's a lot of people who don't have the patience for that. After they play the first level of Commander Keen 1, 2, or 3, they might just be like, "Well, this is trash," But it's not. It's one of those games where if you stick with it, you learn to appreciate it. So, if I really did, I'd be like, try 4 first, then dive into the old DOS ones. That way you'll have an appreciation for what it
leads up to.
What it leads up to, So it'd be one of those things where this is, this you'll be able to appreciate it. You'll be able to get the hang of it. Then you'll be able to go back and be like, okay, if I stick with it, I'll be able to enjoy it. So that's kind of, I know it's a weird way of how to recommend it. Start with the newer one first and then go back. But I feel like people might want to stick with it more because they see kind of where it goes with that one. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah. I follow you. Yep.
Okay.
What about you, Josh? What do you say? Will you recommend the Commander Keen?
Let's see. Yeah. Okay. I think I went in with the wrong mindset because I've been playing like lots of like modern stuff, Mario Maker and Sonic Mania. I was playing that stuff like that. I've been playing more modern games like platformers. So I think I was going in expecting a more fast-paced action platformer, Mega Man, whatever, when I first played this game, because I didn't know I never seen a screenshot of this game. I never seen a video of this game ever. I just went in completely blind. So I think Commander Keen, I think the title, I see the kid with the baseball cap. I think, oh, it's one of those like mascot platformers with, super fast gameplay. I think I just went in with the wrong mindset. If you go in knowing that it's a little bit more slow paced and basing it on like what DOS games could do. So if you kind of know what DOS gaming was like, and you have that mindset going in, it's easier to accept what you're playing and not get super frustrated like I did like a few times. But like I ended up liking it quite a bit. So I think that I would recommend it given that mindset going in, So.
And the thing is, and DOS platformers in a whole back then, that was their MO. It was a slower paced platformer. Many games like that until Jazz Jackrabbit came around were very slow. Anything like Biomenace, you had Jill of the Jungle, you had this game. All of them are super duper slow, precision jumping, precision shooting kind of things. And like I said, until like Jazz Jackrabbit came around, that was trying to emulate Mario, emulate Sonic the Hedgehog, and while adding shooting to it. That's kind of how all DOS platformers were. It was slower paced. You weren't gonna beat the level in record timing half the time, but that's kind of how we grew up on it. So, nowadays modern platformers, everything's fast paced, everything's boom, 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 whatever. So that's kind of a culture shock coming from that, going to that old school DOS mentality of platforming, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
At least how I'm seeing it with you.
Right. Just people go in with open minds, willing to accept what classic, DOS games are like. And what about you, Kevin? You haven't said yet.
Yes, I would recommend it. I think all you modern day gamers and platform enthusiasts should suck it up and get your Commander Keen on. Oh, I'm not including you on this. I'm just saying, just get right in there. Get right in the original. It's fine. It's good. It's you got to put, like you said, you got to put yourself in the mindset like you're going to play a Castlevania game. It's going to be different. You're going to play a Sonic game. It's going to be different. Not everything's Mega Man. Not everything's Mario Brothers. You got different platforms. If that's all you want to play, then go play your Mega Man games. But if you are a true platform enthusiast and you like different experiences and not just the same thing over and over again, Commander Keen, I think, offers a unique experience. I don't think there's another game out there like it. And if you want to know where platforming games got some of its originality, where things have come from, and Commander Keen series is one of them to check out. Just, keep in mind that audio is a little grating. It was really only the audio I think I found that was really the thing that that didn't age well. Like that was that thing. Yeah. The rest of it I think was fine.
And to be fair, you could probably just put on a podcast and mute it and you'd be fine, because there's not really any point where you need to hear a sound cue or anything. So it's like, just put on your favorite music or a podcast and play it with the muting it, you'll be fine.
I feel I would miss it if we weren't there.
It does have a charm to it. I mean, you kind of, it goes hand in hand with the game. You get used to it, and it kind of has its own weird, crappy charm, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. For sure. So there you go. Commander Keen. All right, that's it. It gets 3 thumbs up. I didn't think that was going to happen.
Me neither.
Honestly.
I will be honest. I was so afraid because after Monkey Island and how great that was, I'm sitting here going, am I going to be the only one who suggested the first dud? Because we the first lemon, because I'm sitting here thinking, up to this point we've recommended every game, everything's been great, we haven't reached anything. And I'm sitting here going, well, I love this game, but I can see how people could maybe not. And so I'm sitting here going, oh no, and I was second guessing myself. But again, as I play through it, I'm just like, no, this is truly worth it as a platforming. If you're a platforming aficionado, like you said, you should give it a try. You should see it's I feel like it's in the roots of platforming. It's one of those games where it helped, maybe not revolutionize, but help push platforming forward. It might not be as big as Mario was or as big as what Sonic was, but for PC gamers who grew up in that time, that was our Mario, that was our Sonic. It just was a little slower and had PC speakers.
Well,
but
and
that's what we had.
You got to remember how revolutionary it was too. I mean, this was built off of a demo that they made for Super Mario Brothers 3, where they actually figured out how to vertical scroll in MS-DOS. There was no vertical scrolling, so that's probably why it's a little slower. It was pushing the game. It was pushing the limitations of the software to its limits. It was pushing boundaries. And I don't know. I appreciate it, and I would play this again. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I didn't love it as much as I did when I was a kid, but I did really like it. And it's not as good as Monkey Island or the other games that we have played.
It's no Planescape.
Planescape. It's no Half-Life. Diablo. I think I enjoyed all those games more, but this is still a good game that is worth playing. So we talked about recommending Commander Keen. Sequels we talked about. I really got to go back and play them. I do remember playing them a lot when I was a kid. All right, so that's it. Commander Keen done. Moving on. Let's go to Ask Quick Save Club. We got many questions, lots of questions, but we're running low on time. So let's just pick the best one. Josh, just scroll through all these questions and just try to pick a good one.
There's so many.
Yeah.
How about this Steven Eider kid here at Steven Eider on Twitter?
Yeah, everyone ignores him on Twitter, so yeah, maybe we'll give him some attention.
Okay. Well, as a lot of people know, September's game of the month is Minecraft, and I had announced on the we announced on the Quick Save Club Twitter that we're gonna open up a Minecraft Realm server. I was trying to plan out the best way to do this so we can get the most people to be on the server.
What was Steven's question?
His question is the Minecraft server up yet? And no, okay. It's not. So what I want to do is we're going to open up a Bedrock server, which is the Windows 10 version of Minecraft. But if you own the alpha version, like the Java version, you can get it for free on their site. So
that's what I did.
Yeah. So I'm going to open up that server probably the end of this week, Thursday, Friday. That'd be like
give us a date.
The date.
I don't know when this episode's going to be posted.
Exactly. I say like the 30th or 31st of August, somewhere around
30th. So if you're hearing this after the 30th or 31st, sometime in September. The server's up. Good.
Yeah. So it'd be a little bit before September, and we'll have an invite link. I'm not sure how it works 100%, but it'll be 10. I think it's 11 people at a time on the server, which I think that's good. So
let's pretend that I'm a huge Commander Keen fan, and I just tuned into this episode of Commander Keen. I have no idea what the heck. I tuned into this episode of Quick Save Club just to hear about Commander Keen, and now we're talking about Minecraft, and I know nothing about Minecraft. So I hear that there's this server up. I can go and play with other people. What can I do in this server? What's happening in here? Are people shooting at me? Am I racing around? What's going on in the server? What can I do?
Okay, so I mean, I guess we'll just say Minecraft's I feel like everybody knows what it is. It's the highest selling game of all time.
This guy has been in a cave. He still has he's hanging on to a shareware version of DOS.
I never bought Minecraft until recently.
There you go.
Okay.
So to Ryan right now.
Minecraft, you drop into it's a very blocky game. It's a first person game. You break blocks and you craft things and you survive in a randomly proc gen, like some people say, or procedurally generated world, and you kind of just survive and build your base.
What am I doing on this server with other people? Like what's happening?
You can team up. You can go build big bases together, or go fight the Ender Dragon together, go to the Nether and gather resources, which is like another dimension you can open up if you do a specific thing.
This sounds exciting.
It's fun.
Or just goof off and attack cows all day, or
make
build
some
a monument. You never know.
That redstone circuitry, you can build like crazy little machines and stuff if you want. It's a fun time.
This is going to be fun because I have very little time in Minecraft. So I was always a Terraria person. So I will be learning a lot of ins and outs. My son has more time in Minecraft than me. No shock there, I guess. So, it's one of those things where it'll be fun to kind of learn all the crafts and stuff like that. So if I'm on the server and I'm asking stupid questions, just remember I'm new at this.
The cool thing about this Bedrock server, though, the reason why I picked that. So there's two modes on PC, which is it kind of splintered off after a while because they wanted a mode that would be compatible with the consoles. So the one, we could talk about more of this when we get into it next month, but they have the Java version that's not compatible with consoles, but this Bedrock version you can play across gen with people on their cell phone, Switch, or Xbox or Windows 10. All can play together. So
What about the PlayStation 4? What about those guys?
you should ask the Sony execs that don't.
Sony is a bunch of
Sony.
jerks.
Come on, Sony.
They
Wake
won't
up
like
over
the
there.
crossplay.
So I mean, if you have this game on Switch or whatever, and you're not into PC gaming, but you want to like join us,
boo! Yes! Boo!
Hey,
You
I
might get
prefer
some
playing
razzing. You might get some
Yeah.
razzing, but
Just kidding.
it's open to everybody. That's the point.
excellent. All right. Well,
I own it on the Switch for my kid, and I have it on the PC, so I have it twice.
excellent. Well, I'm excited to do this. We did try something like this before. I had major
Yeah.
lag, like delay, like 5 minutes worth. Like I'd run into a monster and he wouldn't do anything to me, and then like 5 minutes later I'd be getting hit by nothing. I'm like, what's going on?
I know that Jared did it, and he's in New Zealand. Do you think? I don't know if that would be a factor or not.
Don't know. I'm not sure.
Should we make a channel on our Discord just specifically for this, or just chalk it up to the multiplayer lobby in there?
Multiplayer lobby and the game of the month section.
Forum thread. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's
should we try and do it where we all hook up through Discord and just try making up? Well, we'll figure it out when the time.
Well, and what I liked about this kind of server is that people can kind of go in at any time.
At any time, yeah.
Yeah, and like you can go and build something or whatever, and then when the other people come onto the server, they can see what you've built in the realm. So it's pretty cool.
Okay, cool, awesome.
It's fun times.
All right, announcement time. We're ready to talk about February 2020 and what game we're going to be playing. So let's just remind everybody, this is the big build-up. Next month we're playing Minecraft. Then the month after that we're playing Seventh Guest, which is on sale right now on GOG, 20% off. Grab it.
A Halloween-ish game, I suppose. I've never played it, but it looks like it's
supposed to be appropriate for October. Then we have Age of Empires in November, which we were talking about. It was only on the Windows store when we announced it, but now it's available on Steam.
Okay.
So yeah, Microsoft is doing a ton of great stuff for the PC. They're putting a ton.
Yeah, Game Pass.
It was so weird when I logged on to Steam the other day and there was an ad for Gears of War 5.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Isn't that wild? Like that's
awesome.
the world we live in right now.
Halo's coming too.
Also, I love it.
I never got into Gears of War, but I remember going over to a friend's house and playing the multiplayer horde mode and absolutely loved it.
If they put those on Steam, I would pick up every single one of them and play them again because they were that much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Halo games are coming out as well, which is fantastic. It's the way it should be. I
hope they.
My hats off to Microsoft for doing that.
Yeah.
I wish that Nintendo and Sony would do the same thing because these games should be on whatever platform you want to play them on. You buy a DVD, you don't have to go get a special Sony DVD to play your Sony or Sony player to play your Sony DVD. You just play it in any old player, and that's the way video games should be.
Yeah, I love this that Microsoft's doing that, and then they got the crossplay going with a lot of games now. I don't know, it's cool. Yeah.
And apparently, with the latest update, you can use an Xbox 360 controller on your Switch now. On your Nintendo Switch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, they actually have. I think they're opening up the Microsoft Store on the Switch as well, or something. Create Xbox Live.
I heard a couple rumors. There was
I think it's all rumors right now, but it looks like it's bound to happen. Maybe. I don't know.
Listen, the fact that people are thinking about this stuff, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It would be cool if there was like a working agreement between Microsoft and Nintendo, and you could like get Mario games on the Microsoft one, or Microsoft games on Switch and stuff like that. That'd be interesting. I don't know how they do it, but there's been rumors about it. So
okay. We warned you at the beginning of this episode that we jump around a lot because we're trying to get to this announcement.
Have we did the announcement yet? We forgot.
Enjoy the conversation. So
okay, December we're calling it December because you are going to pick a simulator of your choice and play along with us. I'm going to be playing American Truck Simulator. I don't know what did you guys pick a game yet for December that you want to play?
Nap Simulator. That one's easy.
Nap Simulator. There's Build Your Own PC Simulator. That looks cool.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I'd probably still screw it up even in that.
All right. That's what we're playing in December. In January 2020, we're playing Thief. And in February 2020, who wants to announce it? Who gets to do the big announcement?
I'll do it. I've
All right,
never
go for it.
announced
What are we
any of
playing in
these.
February 2020?
Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
It has 2 subtitles, this game. That's how
I
important
know.
it's Vampire, semicolon,
The
Masquerade, dash, Bloodlines, dash.
Which will be interesting.
It's an RPG.
This game has been on my wish list forever, but for some odd reason, I've just never pulled the trigger and bought it. So now I'm going to have to. It's always because I read in the comment section that it's so buggy, and you have to like download like some third-party patches to make sure that certain bugs get ironed out and stuff like that. So it's always kind of scared me, which it should. It's vampires, but I will definitely get it for this because it's always interests me. It always looks like one of those games that would just kind of rope you in and suck you into that fantasy world, you know.
Well, you got 6 months to figure it out. Download those patches.
Yeah.
And get ready.
It's a good Valentine's Day, feel good game. So
for Valentine's Day, vampires are all about love, sucking blood, and blood is red like the heart, It's...
I actually think the GOG version does have a bunch of patches and that already built in.
Okay.
And it is on Steam as well, and I believe it's the same deal on Steam. So
it wouldn't take long, even not just to look up a forum and find out what you need to download.
Right.
Is the sequel to this coming out in February? Is that why
it's
we're
coming
doing
out?
That?
They say Q1. So this is like a preemptive thing. Like, hey, it's coming out that time frame. So
it might even be delayed by the time we get there. Might be delayed another year or something like that. But we got to get to this game anyway. So
yeah.
I've always wanted to play it too. It's like always on top 20 PC list all the time. And when I first built my original PC, I would always look at those. Like I had this on my wish list forever, and I've been wanting to play it too. So
I purchased this because Steam tells you exactly when you purchased it. I purchased this on May 1st. 2014.
There you go.
Amount of hours put in 0.0. So there you go.
Yeah, I have so many 0.0 games on my Steam.
I know
it's gonna be a fun one. I feel like it's gonna be very like suck you in. 40 hour
vampires,
experience.
good one.
Yeah.
Suck you in.
I didn't mean it, but it works.
Yeah. Good pun. Wow.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it too.
Oh.
All right. Do we want to plug anything?
I've got really nothing to plug. I'm Retro Gamer Ranting on Twitter, just with no ing, just the N at the end. And that's all I got going. I haven't had anything on YouTube in forever, so hopefully one day I'll get back to it. Usually, for some odd reason, in October, I usually end up uploading something, and then a year goes by, and then another October comes, and I upload something. I don't know why it's October, but it always seems to happen that time. So maybe, who knows? But other than that, you can just find me on Twitter, and I'm on the Discord and all that other good stuff. So, anyone else?
I almost have a video done for Flat Out 2.
Oh yeah, you were tweeting about that.
The first video game. I think the last one I did was 2 years ago, maybe 3. The last video game that I actually reviewed.
You wrote a script for it, you said.
That's why you put 20-something hours into that game.
It's good times, man. Well, I think some of it is from previous playthroughs, maybe about 4 or 5 hours is from previous playthroughs. So it doesn't take that long to play it.
Yeah.
But it's good times. So I might be posting something soon. That's not a vinyl pickup video with my wife.
I'm going to have to reinstall it and try playing that again. I remember playing that back in the day. It's
good times. It's a lot of fun.
If
you like the burnout game. All right.
Yeah.
What do you got,
Sorry.
Josh?
I didn't mean to cut you off. The only plug I have is Frantic Thoughts Podcast.
That's good enough. All right.
Hey, awesome.
Excellent. All right. That's it.
Now we can crash the computer. Bonk!
Yeah. All right. Bonk.
All right. Awesome.
my galaxy.